Afternoon. Check, there we are. Good afternoon, everybody. As we begin, we're going to begin in just a little bit, but I'm going to ask if the immediate family, if you're downstairs, could come upstairs and find a seat in the main room. We will get started in just a little bit once everybody starts trickling in. So we'll start in just a few minutes. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see you all. And my name is Jared Cooksey, and I'm a pastor in the area, and have been given the honor of spending this time with you guys. And to the family, I just want to say thank you for the glimpse that you gave me of Balin's life. I really appreciate that, and it really means a lot to me. And so today, as we open up our time together, I'm going to ask that we all bow in a word of prayer. Father, I thank you for your love. I thank you for the grace that you show me daily, and I pray that you would give each and every one of us the strength to make it through yet another day. And today, as we celebrate the life of Balin, as we honor him with memories, I pray that you would begin to heal our hearts, heal the loss that we feel, heal the pain, and give us strength to take a step forward on this long road of healing. I especially pray for the family as they mourn the loss of their brother, their son, their grandson, their nephew, and everyone that has lost a friend. I pray that you would allow us to give grace even to ourselves. In Jesus' name, amen. On a cold winter evening, January 12th, 2002, at 5:20, at Providence Hospital, Balin Scott Miller entered the world. Born to David Miller and Janine Gerard Mormon, weighing 8 pounds 12 ounces, Balin made sure everyone knew he had arrived. From his first breath, it was clear that he was destined to live boldly and without hesitation. His name, Balin, was inspired by the loyal and courageous dwarf in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, a fitting reflection of the character he would grow into. Ambitious, kind, and brave. Balin always carried pride in that name, finding a special connection to the courage and loyalty it represented. At the time of his birth, the family lived in Palmer, Alaska, where his father had built a climbing wall for Balin's older siblings. Even as an infant, watching from below, the foreshadowing was clear. Climbing was in his future. The family later moved to Anchorage, and not long after this, parents parted ways. Throughout his childhood, David took Balin and his siblings on countless adventures across the rugged Alaska wilderness, many of them gratefully described as type 2 fun. Balin was only 5 years old when he first touched rock. Joining his father and siblings top roping at Boy Scout rocks along the Seawards Highway. As he grew older, Balin was drawn to ice climbing, and by his early teens, he was already leading frozen pitches alongside David. He called it tickling the ice. And before long, he was traveling far and wide in search of the steepest and most technical frozen waterfalls he could find. David liked to say that while he may have shown Balin the ropes, quote unquote, it was much like Einstein's grade school teacher teaching him arithmetic, a humble beginning for a mind and spirit destined to soar beyond the ordinary. While Balin's mother, Janine, didn't teach him how to scale rugged mountains, she instilled in him a deep love for travel from a young age. From road trips along Alaska's lone highway to adventures from as far away as South Africa, Janine was determined to show her son the value of exploring the world beyond their backyard. When reflecting on his childhood travels, Balin often spoke with gratitude for the gift of opportunity his mother had given him. When Balin was nearly 3, Jason Mormon entered his life, later becoming his beloved stepdad, known affectionately as Papa J. Jay introduced him to archery and hunting and fishing. In 2016, Balin harvested his first moose near Sutton, Alaska, alongside close family friend Mark Finstrom. Together with Jay and Mark, he also embarked on bear hunts on Prince of Wales Island. Jay loved Balin as his very own, later saying, "There is no single word to describe who he was or the love he brought." When Balin was 7, his father married Silka Massey, who became a cherished presence in his life for more than 14 years. Silka remembers Balin as tolerant, kind-hearted, open-minded, and fiercely loved. In more recent years, David remarried Julia Moody. Did I pronounce that wrong? Moody, there we go. Who lovingly called Balin her bonus son. Balin graduated from Stellar Secondary School in 2020, but attended West Anchorage High School for 1 year as part of an international baccalaureate program with an interest in physics. He was a member of the West High Nordic ski team and was known for his determination and quiet confidence. After graduation, Balin and his brother Dylan set off to Bozeman, Montana to attend Montana State University. Both brothers fell in love with Montana for its boundless beauty and vast wilderness. While attending MSU, Balin spent most of his free time in Highlight Canyon, usually ice climbing. Balin was studying to be an environmental engineer. However, Balin, being true to himself, knew that a life of working a 9-to-5 job was not what he desired. And everybody said amen. Amen. I think he had something there. The mountains were calling, so he put a pause on his studies and to follow his dreams. Balin was a highly accomplished climber with impressive ascents spanning from Alaska to Argentina, including the Rocky Mountains from Canada to Colorado, the Cascades, the Sierra Nevada, the San Jacinto Mountains, New England, Quebec, Patagonia, and the European Alps. Balin's climbing achievements are extensive. He made a name for himself with the distinctively bold style of climbing, gifted with an aptitude to stay calm in stressful situations. Balin excelled in run route, chassis, dangerous terrain, often where a mistake could certainly be fatal. Those celebrated for daring solos like the Reality Bath and Slavic Direct, Balin found his greatest joy climbing with friends and family. For all of his achievements, his humility and his humor remained his defining traits. Balin had a magnetic presence, goofy, quick-witted, and utterly unforgettable. No matter how intimidating the situation, he evoked a sense of courageous nonchalantness which eased the nerves. Balin had a one-of-a-kind sense of humor, unlike anyone else. His laughter could fill any room, and his playful spirit left us with thoughts to ponder, jokes to remember, and sometimes raised eyebrows. He lived simply and nomadically, often out of his little silver Toyota Prius, surviving on canned tuna and beans between adventures. When money ran low, he worked seasonal jobs, shoveling snow in Montana, crabbing in Alaska, and picking up whatever work he could find, to fund his next expedition. He defied comfort, weather, and convention, choosing instead a life rich in purpose and freedom. He also called the Safeway parking lot in Canmore, Alberta, his second home. Balin is survived by his mother, Janine Mormon, his father, David Miller, his stepfather, Jason Mormon, and his stepmother, Silka Bendel Massey. And he is also lovingly remembered by his brothers, Dylan Miller and Jonas Fields, his sister, Aisha Miller, Danielle Evans, Mia Mormon, and Paige Fields, and his grandparents, Barbara and Richard Miller. He leaves behind a cherished family members and dear friends who will hold his memory in their hearts forever. Also worth an honorable mention, Balin's love for the world include a special bond with the family dog, Daisy, a white, fluffy Havanese. I'm used to labs, and it's easy to say. Who never missed a chance to curl up on his lap or nestle by the pillow at night. He was also deeply fond of Summer, the family's rescue dog, whose gentle spirit matched his own. While they cannot be all his favorite, Balin's love extended to Axel, the neurotic Belgian Malinois. Again, I'm a simple guy here. Naples, the stylish Havanese whose haircut renders her blind. The late Jack and Charlie, the beloved Craigslist Akitas, and late Gizmo, the one-eyed Pomeranian with the heart of a lion. The late Finn and Susie, the sweet yellow labs with explosive taste for camping gear and trail sacks, of which they often help themselves to from Balin's pack. And the late Coco, the endearing chocolate lab who Balin could count on to help finish his peas. Balin was the glitter that all our hearts needed. Through Balin, we were shown the courage to live a big, bold, beautiful life. We are forever grateful for him for leading an example and demonstrating how to live a life worth living. So today we have come to celebrate the life of Dylan Miller. Balin Miller. Dylan, we honor you, buddy. And not only to honor him in death, but to remember his life. And Balin's passing leaves an emptiness for those left behind. I don't have to tell you that. His loss was unexpected. And truthfully, none of us, Dad, not really. But I don't think anybody expected to be here today. We're all especially saddened and shocked. Yet in the midst of this, I've been reminded by a passage of Scripture that somehow gives me hope. Philippians 4:7, it says, "Then you will experience peace, God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This is a peace we can't explain. And it's a peace that I'm grateful for at times like this. It's a peace that only comes from the presence of the Holy Spirit in our lives. And it's a peace that we could use right now. And as we experience this peace, let us not focus on Balin's death, but the daily victories gained through his passion, through his laughter, through love for his family and friends, and being the man that he was. And this season hurts. And the truth is we grieve the loss that all Balin was and would have been. But we celebrate his life in the manner in which he had lived it. And the grief we feel during a time like this, it can be complicated. But during a time like this, it's natural for us to place blame. We place blame on people, on situations. Sometimes we place blame on ourselves, or we place blame on God himself. And although I don't believe that this was God's doing, I want you to know that God can handle our emotions. And he can also handle your blame. So blame away. He can handle it. The truth is, as we remember Balin, our hearts are filled with grief, and sometimes we try to bury those feelings because of the pain, and it makes us uncomfortable. Or we think that we have to be strong for others, or it just hurts too much. But I want you to know that we need to grieve. We need to cry. We need to express the emotion that God created us to express. In fact, Jesus even experienced grief multiple times in his life, and one time in particular when he learned about the death of a dear friend, Scripture simply says in John 11:35 that Jesus wept. And this gives me hope in knowing that Jesus himself navigated the many same feelings that we are experiencing here today. So at a time like this, it's important for us not to push those feelings aside. We grieve because we love. And the pain that you feel today is because you loved somebody deeply. And it reminds me of the words of the great theologian Winnie the Pooh when he said, "How lucky I am to have had something so special that it makes saying goodbye so hard." So today, we're here to remember the love that God blessed this world with and the relationships that were shared with Balin. And I've had the distinct honor of getting to know Balin through the family and those who know him best. And again, I say thank you all for letting me do that. And after talking with the family about Balin, I loved how they described him as bold, rambunctious, loving, and honest. And they also went on to say, and if you needed someone to be honest, Balin was the one. And he wasn't gentle about it sometimes. They described his personality as a Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Balin style. But he also deeply cared about people. He genuinely cared about people. And as we talked more about him, I wrote pages of notes so I can know him the way that you knew him, at least a little bit. And the more we talked about Balin, the more I realized he lived this short life with intensity. And I was impressed with the impression that he made on other people's lives and the love that he shared with those he came in contact with in his own way. And I believe that this is a direct reflection of what we find in Scripture about Balin's life. In 1 Corinthians 13:4-5, it says, "Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It's not irritable, and it keeps no records of wrong." In fact, love is found all throughout Scripture. Jesus reminded us of the greatest gift that we can give the world, give one another, in John 15. Jesus says, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. My command to you is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends." And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if Balin were with us today, I would say that he would tell us, just love each other. There is no greater gift that you can give someone than to love. And I'm sure many of you in this room have a story of how Balin had some kind of an impact on your life. Let's honor his memory by being loving to those around us, even when it's not easy to do. So at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to have a few people come up one at a time, and these are people that knew Balin best. And we're going to hear some things from Mom first. So would you come on up? I'm going to give you the mic.
Oh boy. Need tissues.
I got you.
I shouldn't be standing here, and you should not be sitting here. Life isn't fair, or maybe I should say death isn't fair. Balin's death feels like 1,000 daggers in my heart. A weight pressing on my soul that aches to every corner of who I am. A parent should never have to give a eulogy for their child. But here we are, in this beautiful building, on a beautiful, perfect autumn day, celebrating Balin's beautiful life. It's hard to believe that I will never see him again, never feel his big bear hugs. He was the best hugger. Never hear that laugh that could light up a room. I'll miss our hikes, our long walks, because he always would walk with me. No one else would. He's like, I'll go with you, Mom. And those deep, thoughtful talks about life. I miss that Balin grin and the way he could turn any topic into something theatrical, animated, unforgettable. It feels like yesterday I was pregnant with him, feeling those little kicks inside my belly. Waiting to meet this little soul that would change my life forever. I remember the first smile, his first steps, the first day of school, teaching him to read and then to drive. His graduation, it was all just yesterday. Literally. But now there is no yesterday or tomorrow with him, only the moment standing here with a heart that will never be the same. Balin lived life with a spirit that few will know or will experience. He was bold, determined, and endlessly curious about the world around him. He was also never reserved about sharing his thoughts or opinions. He loved the outdoors. It was his church, his peace, his freedom. From the mountains of Alaska to the cliffs of the Rockies, he found himself out there. Climbing wasn't just a sport for him. It was his way of connecting to earth, to himself, and to something bigger. And when he wasn't climbing, you might find him inspiring someone else to climb. Richard Bach once wrote, "Your only obligation in any lifetime is to be true to yourself." And Balin certainly lived true to himself. Through his time here was far too short. Balin's light will never fade. He left his mark on every person who he knew in laughter, his courage, his love for life. And even though we can no longer walk beside him, we will carry him with us always. In the mountains he climbed, in the trails he ran, and in the hearts he touched. So today, through the heartbreak, I choose to be grateful. grateful that I got to be his mom. Grateful for everyone, every hug, every conversation, every moment, even the little arguments that were stupid. And I know that somewhere out there in a place where the sky never ends, Balin is still climbing. He's free, fearless, and smiling that unforgettable smile.
Yeah, David, come on in.
Jay, you got something there? You're next.
You're next.
Bear with me.
You got it.
Boogers on my face or glitter, however. Thank you all for coming. This is amazing. I've been to a few funerals in my life, and I don't know anybody who died with this many friends and family and people that loved and cared about him as much as y'all did. That is inspiring. Are you Canyon? No. I've been trying to find who's Canyon. Raise your hand. There's Canyon. Everybody, who's Canyon? There you are. Hang on. No, not that. No, that's the end of it. Let's start again. It's not that long. I was supposed to get it all printed up and handed to you, but I didn't get it done until just a little bit ago.
You're good.
This is a father's letter to his dead son. I miss your presence on this earth. Our relationship over the last 2 years was one of an occasional visit or a text punctuated with longer periods of silent absence. Yet not a moment of my life passed without thinking of you or loving you, or being shamefully proud of boasting about you, of worrying about you, and of being so happy for you and your courage and freedom to overcome the fears that kept me enchained in a life of compromise. If I had not been told of your recent speed record for descending the Sea of Dreams, my life would look about the same. I would look forward to a crappy selfie of your foot hanging off a cliff of some icy forgotten place, and look forward to hearing the sandbag story of your climbs a year from now when I hug you again. And can I say that hug? That was something else. I've been hugging everybody who would allow me to try to find a reasonable replacement for you, and I haven't come up with any. It was like hugging a warm brick pizza oven covered in tattered, fuzzy fleece. Amazing, I can still feel you in my arms. But even if I didn't know you were no longer on this earth, I believe I would sense something was missing. You were that strong a presence. You touched so many people in so many places, geographically speaking. Sorry.
You're good.
But I think we all sense the loss. Like a salmon whose home stream has been dammed off, I just sort of swim around, wondering what I should do now. The world, my purpose in it, has changed somehow, and everything is in flux.
challenging people that demand the most of us will our true selves become evident. And Balin, let me tell you, as someone who is still one of the most challenging people to deal with that I know of, you were almost as bad as I was as a child. That you lived as long as you did was purely on account of your mother stopping me from killing you a few times. But we got through it somehow. My all-time favorite picture of you is when you were about 3 years old. If the picture was a video capture, I'm sure you would be saying, "Red rum, red rum." Such an angry, hateful, tiny little face. Frustrated by being thrust into a world you never asked to be born to by a couple of well-meaning but entirely ill-prepared children who were and still are doing just the best that we can. And we got through it all, somehow, and along the way we taught each other many things. I still maintain that after raising 6 kids, and now trying to help raise 5 more, I've always learned more from my children than I have taught them. I taught you how to read, and I taught you how to climb. I screwed up teaching you how to ski, but I did better with your brother. I taught you what the chess pieces were called and how to move them around. I taught you that just because you were being honest and transparent with a woman, they still get mad. Oftentimes even more so. I taught you that all of us are flawed. Just love them for who... You taught me, that all of us are flawed. Just love them for who they are and where they are, and don't hold their one tiny flaw up to the light for scrutiny. You taught me that there's no point in staying angry, and that life is so short, and that regrets are worse than failures. You taught me that people do change, and even the impossible is possible. You taught me that the shit we worry about doesn't usually happen. You taught me that when it's your time, it's your time. And when it's not your time, anything short of tying yourself to the railroad tracks is not going to make it your time. Although I do remember telling a buddy that my boy seemed like he was playing pretty close to the tracks when you were on the Slovak. I sent you a text that morning and asked you what you were doing. You had just climbed the West Buttress by yourself and said it was the hardest thing you had ever done in your life. You replied, "Looking up at a really big wall." You taught me humility every day of your life. You had an opportunity to brag or boast, and you never took it. Not when you won the West High Chess Tournament and didn't mention it. Not when in high school, after going to school all day, and then working at the gym, and then going out in the blizzard in the middle of the night to climb a verglass smear that I could never climb, but made you belay me on countless times. You never said a word. You taught me kindness. The other picture I have of you in my mind is a selfie you took after you soloed Fitzroy. Dressed like a sponsored French climbing model with sparkling glitter that matched the otherworldly light in your eyes. Those guys in Patagonia nailed it. You were and are still magical. You are really your father now, and after borrowing you for 23 years, I understood why he wanted you back so soon. I wouldn't have let you stay away from me nearly as long as he did. And I'm so grateful to have had this time. You have given me 23 years of purposeful, meaningful joy. You have brought me friends I would never have had, and new family I would never have known. At best, I might get another 23 years on this earth, and I can't imagine crying all of it. It's been more than a fair trade. But I am a little bummed not to get to read about what kind of crushers your kids would have been. I will close with a short story. I arose out of my dark, submerged place in the bottom of my pond of self, and went pack rafting with a friend, with a man who lost his son to a passion he gave him. Roman Dahl was a gifted climber like Balin, but he quit climbing before his son was born. He never taught Cody how to climb for the same reasons I was hesitant to teach Balin, namely that it killed all of my friends and it's addictive as drugs and way more expensive. Instead, he taught him how to hike and camp and tromp across warm, lush jungles and float down lazy rivers. This is the man who invented pack rafting and has more Class 5 descents in his pack raft than I have years on this earth. And yet, despite his incredible thoughtfulness and care, his son died alone on a wild adventure crossing a trackless, barely explored part of the Costa Rican jungle. Roman had quit running any whitewater, but I talked him into running Echo Bend by saying it was low water. And there were no reasonable points of wood. I mean, what could be possibly more safe than low water pack rafting with the famous Roman Dial? I led most of the way down, and then eddied out, and Roman went on ahead. Unbeknownst to me, he came upon a strainer in a tight spot between two boulders. I saw his head swimming downstream and his boat pinned against the rocks, and thought, no big deal, I'll just unstick his boat and be on my merry way to sort him out. What I didn't know was that he almost drowned. He was forced to break the one cardinal rule of boating: never swim under a strainer. I won't describe the super scary ninja acrobatic maneuver I used to free his boat and get myself up and over that drowning machine on account of I just got lucky, and so did he. So after an entire day of each of us beating ourselves up for killing our sons, we almost died doing the one thing we thought was about as safe as you could be without overshooting the mark and committing suicide out of sheer boredom. And on the drive home, Roman leaned in close to me and whispered, "Don't ever tell anybody this, but I liked swimming under the log." A lot of us enjoy it, and so did our boys. Were we experts at our craft, skilled watermen whose practice and training took over and saved the day? Maybe Roman was, but I think it was just two old men that still had stuff to figure out on this earth. And God, like a tired school teacher, was frustrated with us still trying to hand in our incomplete assignments so we could go out and play. In other words, it wasn't our time. Unfortunately, his son Cody's time was up while he lay in his tent dreaming of tomorrow's next big adventure, and a tree fell on him and killed him in his sleep. And Balin, my son, your time was up as the master mountaineer who repelled off the finite into the infinite. So I tell all you other sons and daughters out there what I told Balin after Reality Bath. Carry the weight of people who love you in your packs and let it slow you down a little. And if you get to a place where you're not sure if you should go up or down, try doing shit half as stupid for twice as long. It's worked wonders in my life. Thank you all for loving my son.
And I'm going to read on behalf of Jason. Jason says that I came into Balin's life when he was about 3 years old, and he eventually became my stepson. I never imagined that I would be writing a speech for my son's funeral. And to be honest, there are no words adequate for this moment, no preparation for losing a child. But I'm here because Balin deserves to be remembered, celebrated, and honored for the incredible person that he was and the extraordinary life he lived in the 23 years with us. Balin was charismatic, inspiring, and had the most vibrant personality of anyone I've ever known. As his stepfather, I'll admit there were times I tried to steer him toward what I thought was a much safer plan. But Balin knew who he was, and he was what he was meant to do. He was devoted to become one of the best alpinist climbers in the world, and he lived for the love of climbing with every fiber of his being. What he accomplished in his short time with us is truly astonishing. These weren't just adventures to him. They were his calling, his art, his way of touching something greater than himself. But as proud as I am of those incredible achievements, what I treasured the most were his visits home. You know, one of Balin's favorite sayings was, to be fair. Sounds to me that you've all heard "to be fair." He'd use it when he was making a point of trying to see all sides of something. To be fair, he'd say, and then he'd share some insight that showed his wisdom beyond his years. To be fair, Balin lived more in 23 years than most people do in twice that time. To be fair, he followed his passion with a courage that most of us can only admire. And to be fair, while our hearts are breaking today, we were incredibly blessed to have him as long as we did. Balin inspired his family, friends, not just through his climbing achievements, but through his authenticity. He showed us what it looks like to know yourself completely and live without compromise. He demonstrated that life isn't measured in years alone, but in moments of pure joy. in challenges overcome, in peaks reached, both literal and metaphorical. I loved him with all my heart. I will miss him so much. We all will. We'll miss those homecomings, the laugh, the smile, the vibrant energy that could light up any room. But Balin taught us that the summit isn't the end of the journey. It's proof of what's possible when you refuse to give up on your dreams. Balin lived with courage, climbed with purpose, and loved with his whole heart. He touched heights that most of us will never reach and inspired everyone that knew him to aim higher in their own lives. While we cannot have him back, we can honor him by remembering that Balin knew how to live boldly, to love deeply, and never settle for anything less than our truest selves. Balin, my son, you will never be forgotten. Your spirit lives in every mountain peak, in every story we tell about your adventures, and in every moment we choose courage over comfort. Until we meet again, climb high, climb proud, and know that I love you more than all the mountains in the world. Thank you. Now I'm going to speak on behalf of Richard. Balin's, you want to do it? You come on up. Let's go. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody that doesn't want me to speak on behalf of.
Hi, folks. I'm Richard. I'm Balin's grandfather. My wife could not be here today. I so wish she were here to give me a hand with this. I'll try to hit the highlights. Balin's childhood, as many have already mentioned, was very challenging. He struggled with so much. However, so many people, as gathered here today, were there to help them. There were his sisters, his parents, his teachers, all lending a hand. As it has come to be known, it took a village, and what an amazing group of people supported him. Balin became so good at taking the very best of what his mentors and parents had to offer. But he always added a little twist, that little something, the glitter and touch that was Balin. A notable exception, unfortunately, is my sarcasm. That he took, unfortunately, without any edits. And from me, and might have been that something that got him thrown out of a van, driven by his girlfriend across the Mojave Desert. Actually, it really could have been some other things too. However, it was my good fortune that my son dug in his pocket, bought him a ticket, and sent him to San Diego, where Barbara and I live. There, he helped design a rocking chair for my very first great-granddaughter. He was so talented. He was able to see what really would matter. And and it must be something that I remember to tell Fiora someday. My son David introduced Balin to climbing, but he probably knew most of what David had to taught. He just had to be refined. And over to the best of his climb, he soon turned him over to the best in the climbing community, all of you folks, where he again added his own style. Never taking the easier routes, but always adding that little twist. That's something that was Balin. As his skills grew, he focused his attention on only the more difficult pathways. The people gathered here today in the climbing community know all too well his story. What you just don't know is what it might have been. I made it. I hope so, son. That's my fondest wish for you.
At this time, all of Balin's siblings are going to come up and share.
Hello. For those of you who don't know, we are Balin's siblings. While we all come from different family trees, we all got to share the same experience of having Balin as a brother. As siblings of Balin, we can all remember various climbing adventures, whether we came along voluntarily or were forced. Every adventure with Balin has deeply affected each one of our identities to this day. As the youngest sibling in the house and Balin's younger sister, I was always an easy target for Balin's shenanigans. Living and growing up with him meant constantly, physically fighting for my life every day. And always being asked, "How many butts have you eaten today, Paige?" As we all know, Balin's imagination often led him on crazy adventures. And when he needed an accomplice, I usually had nothing better to do. Whether it was helping him craft the perfect dog poop mud pie in the backyard, or climbing into dumpsters to help him produce the horror movie of his dreams. Having Balin as a brother meant our childhoods were full of spontaneity, the most insane side quests, and type 2 fun at its finest.
Being a big sister, I live in a false reality where I believe I'm there to teach and guide. But Balin never needed that. He tested that reality from the jump. And from being the only of my younger siblings to regularly challenge my self-appointed dictatorship over the front seat and win, to playing the devil's advocate when it was truly my turn to apologize, calling him for validation, it's not the right call. Because when I hear on the other end after my complaints of whatever friend or family member, and I hear, well, to be fair, I'm in the wrong here, aren't I? He would say, and with those words, I knew I came to the wrong place to be validated, but the most perfect right place to hear the hard truth. Being Balin's sister is like having a best friend who never lies to you, no matter how painful that truth is.
Yeah, I thought today I'd start with an anecdote that I feel encompassed Balin. So I'd like you to picture yourself on a hot summer day at 1 a.m. and you just hear a knocking at your door and you don't know what it is, and I'm sleeping alone and my roommate's gone, and just bang, bang, bang. So I wake up and I'm like, who's at the door? I walk downstairs and there's this broad-shouldered silhouette shining in the sun. And, not sure what to do. I open the door and it's Balin, and he's got his whole life on his back. And he opens with, "What's up, butt munch?" And I haven't seen the guy in like 6 months. And he just waltzes in immediately, and he goes straight to my kitchen, and he's looking for peanut butter. It was late, and so he had worked on the train that summer, and so he convinced me to take a walk with him. And it's just a walk, right? But with Balin, it was never just a walk. It was really special, though. We talked about everything that night. We talked about who we wanted to be when we grew up, who we were trying to be. We talked about women. I had been dating this lady, and she had ferrets. It was really bad in hindsight, and he gave me so much crap. I mean, he berated me, and he's like, "Aren't you retarded?" And yeah, not my finest moment. For those of you in the Fairbanks area, we talked about the Fairbanks glory hole. He shined light on that to me. And then finally, of course, the classic Balin question, so Jonas, who you piping down? But yeah, the night went on, and that, that morning, the sun kind of came over the hill, and we got a coffee. I dropped him off at the train station, and I said, "I love you." And he said it back, and I remember it was special because the sun hadn't set that night, and it would be the last time I'd see him alone again, just us two. So, moments like these are often so overlooked, and, sharing that moment here with everyone reinforces my theory that Balin's love and quirkiness and brotherhood knows absolutely no bounds. And from the bottom of my heart, we all love you so very dearly, Balin. Thank you.
I hate public speaking, so that's why I was not sure I was going to do this or not. But I wrote this just crying on the floor about a week ago. I'm sitting here thinking about my own mortality, and I'm wallowing in it. And yet when I think about Balin, the last thing he would do is that. Climb the mountain, get the tattoo, kiss the girl, and don't apologize. That was his truth. Not everyone understood it or liked it. And yet when I do this reflection, I think he may have had it right all along. So what is the point of life? I really don't know. And as much as I don't want to admit it, I am scared of my own mortality. Yet Balin has taught me that I can't stress on that, because what's the fucking point? Live your life not just fully, but palpably. All the elbows and all the grease. Make it whatever you want it to be, but above all, don't hold back.
Now we're going to hear from Uncle Douglas, and I think I'm going to read on his behalf. I don't want to overstep that one. Uncle Douglas says that he touched so many people with his feats of daring. He had a nonchalant attitude to his success that many must have found astounding. Perhaps he inspired thousands with his pure love of what he did. He didn't do what he did for glory or money, but pure love and openness to the world as it is, and self-satisfaction. So many people will never know what that's like. Most people are too afraid, unconfident, or unwilling to put the hard work to follow their dreams. They live their life a mere shadow of what they could be. Balin lived his life the way that he wanted and was uncompromising. He lived his life to the full and experienced more in a short life than many people will ever experience in 90 years. Maybe that will or should be his legacy. As Odin says in the, I'm going to mess up some of the words, the Havamal in Poetic Edda, cattle die and kingsmen die. and so one dies oneself. But a noble name will never die, if good renown one gets. Cattle die and kinsmen die, and so one dies oneself. And one thing now that never dies, the fame of dead men's deeds. Balin, you will not be forgotten. May your life always be remembered not by the end, but by the way you lived it, with energy, skill, passion, and exuberance. Now I'm going to ask Aunt Laurel to come on up. Laurel? She's coming.
Beautiful faces. Sorry for that dramatic pause. I didn't know I was on the agenda. But this is what I wrote. Like all of you, I'm trying to find comfort in knowing that the time Balin did spend in this world, he lived fully. But I'm finding it really hard to set aside the heavy weight of how unfair this feels. It's far too soon to say goodbye to Balin. He has so much more living ahead of him, so many more adventures we should all still be hearing about. As an aunt living on the other side of the country, my memories of Balin are snapshots from family gatherings over the years, from the time he was young, on vacation, or at weddings, or at other big gatherings. There was always hustle and bustle, and I loved seeing him in that family setting with all of his siblings and cousins laughing together or teasing each other or hunting for spiders. More recently, I had a chance to spend one-on-one time with Balin when he visited us in Massachusetts. I'm so grateful now for those couple of days. It gave me a chance to see the grown-up Balin, the Balin that was out alone in the world, living his life his way. I was so impressed with who he had become. He was open and curious. He was a trickster. He enjoyed sharing scandalous family gossip, some of which, I now realize, he made up just to get me going. I love that he was unafraid and open to new experiences. In Boston, I pretty much forced him to play a speaking role in one of those stupid Boston Tea Party reenactment tourist traps. I could tell he felt awkward about speaking. But when I told him it would make a great memory, he dove right in. That was who Balin was. He never passed up an opportunity for new adventure or challenge. What impressed me most about Balin was the way he lived his life with courage, enthusiasm, and authenticity. I found it inspiring to see how fearlessly Balin embraced life. It's such a powerful reminder to all of us of how life should be lived, with openness, curiosity, and joy. Watching him was kind of marvelous, really.
I'm going to invite Aunt Kim to come on up. Oh, brother. Were you? We're not letting you.
My old lady glasses. Oh, here we are, a room full of people whose common thread is a young man who awed and inspired each of us in some way. I've seen and heard so many descriptions of Balin the last few weeks. Exceedingly bold, audacious, astonishing rising star, stalwart ice climber with a goofy side, who had a trademark sparkle. His energy lit up every space he was in. Massive inspiration for generations with his boldness, determination, and passion. Smart, funny, loving, passionate, driven, brave, the list goes on. But let me tell you, As a 3-year-old, Balin was a combination of Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner, and the Tasmanian Devil, all rolled up into one little ball of energy. And I was a kindergarten teacher, and I thought, oh dear. But Janine, you were always on it, making sure that Balin was growing into the best version of himself, navigating the intricacies of parenting a very energetic kiddo while loving him ferociously and unconditionally right up to his last days. Jay, your calm and steady presence helped him grow to be kind, smart, endearing young man. We didn't see him often these past few years, but we were always thankful to touch base with him when he was home for a short visit between his adventures. We always knew that even though he was down here with us lowlanders, Balin's head and his heart were up in the mountains, planning his next summit, where he felt truly alive. When he was off on his trips, we'd always ask about where he was and what he was doing, and we'd have that inevitable conversation about hoping he was safe and how he could turn that passion one day maybe into making a steady living and settle down as much as he was able somewhere close to family. He took all of that legendary preschool energy that was his 3-year-old self, and he turned it into a passion so profound that most of the rest of us only could stand back in bewilderment in all that he had accomplished. I knew Balin loved to climb, but I was just the aunt. I just thought he was a local boy who loved to climb, and that the article in the Anchorage Daily News was just another article about a dude who loved to climb. And these past few weeks, as my old lady's social media feeds have rolled in, I had this dawning realization. Oh my God, Balin was a badass. And still, among all those accolades and reverence toward him, he was just a humble guy who found his greatest peace up on a mountain in a tent during a snowstorm with food and a cup of coffee. That's just nothing, he said. There's just nothing up there, he said, in reference to that peace. And as we all move on from this tragedy, I wish each of you can find moments of that complete serendipity, oblivious to the mundane demands of life, where you are truly just at peace. And if you are a climber or part of the climbing community, which I'm starting to feel like because of all the stuff coming in on my social media, please know that our thoughts are especially with you as you struggle with this loss in a different way. As you go forth on your next adventures, please develop a ritual of making sure that all your safety stuff is in place. Check your gear and send a happy thought to Balin, and then send a thought to your own family and let them know that you are coming home safely. Please foster this habit as you mentor young climbers. And know that you have complete strangers wishing you a safe passage home. Tiny rituals can help us move on from tragedy. My dad was a helicopter pilot in the Army, and since his passing, whenever I see a helicopter flying overhead, I send him a little happy thought and say hello and let him know we're all okay. Many of you will probably find a little ritual that connects you to Balin. In the back entryway on the table, you will find a table with orange glass hearts. I invite you to take one of those home with you, and when you are out exploring this majestic world that we live in, the wild spaces that Balin loved so much, take a picture of your Balin heart and post it with hashtags listed on the paper in your little orange bag. It's a way that you can connect with Balin and a way that you can keep connecting with his family. In the coming weeks, I plead with you to take time to write down your Balin stories while the details are fresh in your heart and in your mind. Keep reaching out to Janine and David and the family to share your stories of his adventures and goofy antics that lit up all of you. Those stories matter, and writing them down is the best way to ensure that your memories last a lifetime. How has knowing Balin inspired you to move forward? The poet Mary Oliver wrote, "Tell me, what is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" Balin lived one wild and precious life, and he has inspired this almost old lady to live a little more audaciously with a little more sparkle, and I will be working to broaden my pitifully narrow adventures in his honor. Thank you.
I'm going to read one more on behalf of Silka as our musician gets ready, as Katie comes up to get ready to sing a song. Silka says, Balin came into my life when he was 6 years old, when his father David and I married and blended our families. Once we all moved in together, Balin was a force to be reckoned with. As a child, he was wild and nearly untamable, but the most loving, pure, and honest soul a mother could hope for. There was no guessing with Balin. One knew how Balin felt at all times. I now fondly remember family walks that included Balin and his stick, skating along the highway and hiking in the Alps, along with Easter church services and Father's Day brunches, all made memorable by Balin's inquisitive mind. Of the many things I learned from Balin, the greatest lesson was to love unconditionally and not to be afraid to speak the truth. Balin challenged me in ways as a parent and I never thought possible. But what I would give just to hear him ask one more time, would you rather? I want to introduce Katie over here.
That good? Maybe move it a little. I think that's good. I don't know how you've been. We don't talk like we did.
Once in a lifetime. After ample thought, those are the words I choose to describe Balin with. Once in a lifetime, there is an individual who can blend the elements of kindness, loyalty, compassion, and general mayhem the way that Balin did. Once in a lifetime, there is a tragedy of this scope in the life of an individual or a community like those that Balin touched with his light and fervor. Once in a Lifetime was the first song I remember Balin showing me in the earliest days of our friendship. Balin Miller was an example of what the human spirit, body, and mind are capable of when one devotes everything they have to honing their gifts for a single purpose. All of you know that Balin's purpose was climbing. He was a generational talent and a bit of a lunatic, which, as I understand it now, set him up for becoming one of the greatest athletes of all time in his field. Though, as I'm also sure is the case for many of you here, climbing wasn't how I knew, nor will it be how I remember Balin. And it certainly wasn't what drew me to him or spurred my growing admiration and respect for the man I watched him become. No, that was all inside. Many people speak of free spirits when describing nomadic, nonchalant, and seemingly carefree individuals like Balin. However, while he was far freer than most of us could ever hope to be, his core wasn't without its thorns. I know Balin had his battles, ones he did and didn't talk about, yet he faced the world with a smile through them all and made sure that others felt seen even while he struggled. Through the years, I saw Balin grow and mature, but funnily enough, he didn't change all that much. He always knew who he was and maintained a firm moral heading and sense of self through times where everyone else seemed to be grasping at straws for direction. Balin met me as a boy, and he left me as a man. And I will forever be grateful for the years that I got to have him by my side as a best friend and a guiding light in what often feels like a dark world. There will never be enough words to explain the loss that we have all incurred as a result of his passing. But I'll be damned if we don't continue to freak it for him until our time has come as well. Thank you.
I don't really know what that means, but I'll try. I'm going to invite, as our final speaker for the day, Mark Twite to come forward.
I have to read too, because I wrote this last night. And I'm sorry this gathering has to occur. A very bright light has gone out, and our community is poorer for it, emptier, lost, circling, questioning. And the answer is always to keep going. What may temporarily soothe is to celebrate who Balin was, instead of dwelling on his death and our loss. I described him as an étoile filante, a shooting star that lit up the night sky. he is still illuminating the land that he once moved across with such alacrity, which Merriam-Webster defines as a cheerful readiness. Some stars are so bright they outshine death. I first met Balin in October of 2022 when I was giving a little talk in Bozeman, a shop called Uphill Pursuits. He was young, I guess 19 or 20 at that point, and clearly focused and on a mission. I couldn't see his talent or his commitment in that setting. And that night, probably just thought to myself, he's another young kid who might keep climbing and he might not. He might just graduate from climbing like he graduated from college. I wasn't paying attention to climbing at that point, and I couldn't yet see his generation. That changed when I moved to Bozeman full-time and opened my eyes and opened myself up enough to start talking to these young climbers. I began to understand the connection, a through line that we all share as climbers, and I learned that many of the younger generation were very aware of climbing history. I hadn't really given them much credit for that. They were aware of the stories of what had been done, and that allowed them to see what might be done. I began to understand more clearly the influence what I had done and written and said had on a few of those climbers, Balin being among them. And I can't not write the words. Sometimes I'm afraid for those who read my words. Because the logical expression of those words is to chase life and love with a vigor and ferocity that cannot last. Such intensity cannot be sustained. For years, I didn't understand the impact that those words had until a very powerful event occurred that made me begin to listen and to learn. Nothing I learned made me want to take anything back, of course. I couldn't anyway. Instead, I just told myself to watch and take care. Balin entered my consciousness on the back of a rumor that he had repeated the reality bath, which I and my partner who first climbed it, Randy Ratcliffe, remembered well, and we were waiting. We were waiting for that maybe generational talent to come along, and he finally did 37 years later. One young climber described him, I think it was not really description because it was an Instagram direct message, described him as being quite obsessed. I blew it off at first, but then I understood that what was meant, what was implied, was that he wanted to repeat the routes that I had done in better style than I had and my partners had used. When some of my new routes in the Alps were repeated, the impetus was competitive and adversarial, and that's how I wanted it back then, especially over there. I'll just say it, fucking French climbers. But Balin's intent felt different. His spirit felt different. He was talented and bold and utterly committed, and he was willing. When the rumor that second ascent proved true, that he had soloed the second ascent 37 years after the first, I looked for news of what else he had climbed and how. Again, he was talented and bold and utterly committed. We met. We had a public conversation about the first and second ascents of that route. I very much understood his drive and his trajectory because I had lived a similar arc, and I could sense that he was using that arc as a launch ramp for his own, one that would reach higher and further. As a so-called elder of the climbing community, specifically the alpine climbing community, I understood that I had some responsibility to maybe help steer him on a path that is fraught with danger. I also understood how my own mentors and guides must have felt. They must have wondered how to say enough without saying too much, how to help tend the fire without adding gasoline, how to share when that was right, and to withhold when that was the better action. For me, when one of my mentor's actions appeared intended to rein me in, I rejected them and went harder. They were old. They had no idea what I could do. And in the role of an elder, I didn't want to be like them. So I struggled with what to say, who to be. I wanted to see Balin carry the torch, to tend its light, to keep it burning and shining and showing a way forward for others, to assure them that it's okay, and encouraged to rebel against a world that says mediocrity is enough, and to show them that their expectations, the ones they respond to, are low, and that they, which means all of us, can do so much more. In his too short years, Balin showed us what we all might expect of ourselves if we only believe in ourselves. He showed us how beautiful it is to live as ourselves, our authentic selves, relatively uninfluenced by others' self-imposed restrictions and limitations and small aspirations. And he did live life beautifully. This is what we should remember, how he lived, how he made us feel. We should not dwell on what might have happened or on a future that will never be. We should not drop anchor in loss and grief. We should embrace it, yes, live with it and live through it. Grief evolves, it never leaves. But we must not allow it to suffocate or restrain us. Our responsibility is to keep Balin alive within us, to lift our foot off the brake pedal whenever we feel pressured to be anyone other than our true selves. Just think of how freely Balin offered to smile, how quirky he could be, and how fucking confident. I was told today that he was born that way. Remember his drive and how he cared. Remember those bright and shiny moments. Oh yeah. This is horrible. And it's shitty. And it's going to be a long time before those close to him can feel any differently about it. But I'll share a personal thing. In the 6 years following her husband's death in a climbing accident, my wife Blair has proven that we can live through and live with great tragedy and find a way into a different life that is not all loss. It's not empty and awful, and it's worth holding on, if only to see what is over the next horizon. So hold on till it's time to let go. Sometimes it's time to let go. I'll say one last thing. At the risk of being trite, that Balin's death has darkened our world means that his star appears to shine even more brightly above and all around us.
Thank you, Mark. The longer I've lived, the more I've come to realize that I have a more difficult time explaining the absolute love of God. And the funny thing is that actually gives me hope. It gives me hope because if I were able to explain God's great love for me in its entirety, it wouldn't be that great at all. The fact that I can't fully explain it tells me how that his love is so much more than you and I could ever understand. And the more I've gotten to know Balin through the family, the more I'm reminded that we are all dearly loved. but not one of us is perfect. And I know that no matter how good we are and no matter who we've helped, no matter how great friends we are to each other around us, there's only one way to be made right with God. And as we reflect on the life of Balin today, you may be sitting here today and reflecting on your own life with questions like, am I good enough? Should I do more? It brings up all sorts of feelings. Sometimes feelings of guilt, maybe shame, or even a thought of, am I valued? And I just want you all to know that you are of great value. You're worth every breath. You're worth every effort. You are dearly loved by God and those around you. And proof of your value is evidenced in what Jesus did for us on the cross. And my belief is that when we breathe our final breath in this earthly body, we are going to be made right in our body, mind, and our spirit. We're going to be in the presence of our Creator, and our thoughts are no longer limited to our way of thinking on this earth. Not because of our own great deeds, but because we can't earn that spot in heaven. It's the grace and gift of God. And so in bringing this service to a close today, we are symbolically acknowledging the ending of a life. And as we do, I'd like to light these candles to represent some things. First, we light a candle of love. We light this candle for Balin, knowing his love will always shine for and with us, forever wrapped with sacred ties of love deep within our hearts. The second candle represents our grief and our loss, the anger, the shock, the unanswered questions, emptiness filling our days. The pain of our loss is intense and overwhelming, and in its depth, a reflection of love for Balin. And the third candle represents our courage, the courage to confront our sorrow, to face the emptiness without Balin, the courage to comfort each other, to heal and to make changes that honor his memory. And the final candle represents the gift of memory. We remember our precious times with Balin, times we laughed and times we cried, words of anger and words of love, and I'm going to throw in there words of honesty. A treasure trove of memories, forever etched into our hearts and into our minds. And so now we sit in the silence of this moment, in the light of the candles of remembrance. Would you just take a moment? Would you bow with me in a word of prayer as we close our time? Father, thank you for the life that we get to celebrate. Thank you for the person that Balin was and all that he added to this world. And I pray that we would take that same drive, we would take his example, and we would ourselves add to this world. Father, as we continue to remember, I pray that our memories would be healing, even in the midst of tears. I pray that our tears would be healing, even in the midst of pain. Father, I pray for healing for everyone in this room. I pray for the family to continue to take steps down the road of healing as they grieve the loss of their dear son, brother, and friend. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the family, I'd like to thank you all for coming today to Balin's service. There's still going to be a few things that will happen following the dismissal. There is going to be a video that's going to be playing, and it will continue to play during some refreshment hours as well. But there is the family's asked if you watch the first few minutes of this video and really get an idea of Balin, and then there will be refreshments following downstairs. If you did not get a chance to speak, obviously Balin is dearly loved. Amen? So if you didn't get a chance to speak, there will be an open mic that will happen throughout the rest of the afternoon as refreshments are going to be downstairs. You feel free to grab that microphone, and Jason will have that, Josh will have that in the back. So if you, what's that? Downstairs, yes. And so find him downstairs, and you'll be able to share your memories. And then small adjustment sounds good. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Yep, we'll do it now. Let's watch some climbing. How about that? Oh, Ethan. Yeah. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ethan, and I consider myself very lucky to say I was one of Balin's main climbing partners. I'm going to let the video do most of the talking, but I just wanted to give you guys some context. I met Balin almost 4 years ago at the Spire climbing gym in Bozeman. He was with his friend Noah Burke, and I think within 10 seconds of our conversation beginning, he asked me if I wanted to go climb Mount Huntington. A few months later, we summited that mountain together, and that was just one of many amazing experiences we had together in the last 4 years. And while we met through climbing, we became very close friends beyond climbing. In the short time I knew him, I got to watch him develop as an adult and become more and more comfortable with who he was and more confident in carving his own path through life. It was incredibly humbling to learn so much from someone who was nearly 5 years younger than me. And he changed my perspective on my own limits, and he actively made things possible for me that otherwise would not have been. We both love to share our strong opinions on things, and we often bonded by arguing incessantly. It never escalated to hostility, though. We both just enjoyed the dance of verbally poking and prodding and jabbing one another. I'm going to greatly miss our extensive conversations arguing over pointless things or discussing the intricacies of certain climbing areas and obscure alpine faces. He had established himself as a world-class climber recently, but he was innately a world-class shit talker. He was irreverent and quick to point out others' inconsistencies, but it was hard to measure up to the standard he set, so he forgave just as quickly. His ego was big but his heart was much, much bigger. And in the video that's about to play, Balin, Chris Lebowski, and I summit Cerro Torre, the famous Patagonian spire, together. Chris and I both cried on the summit. I'm not sure if Balin did. But when I was initially reflecting on this experience, I asked myself why we were crying, and I was unsure. But when Balin passed, I understood the real reason, and I believe that was an innate understanding that these experiences and the people you have them with are rare and fleeting. So I want to thank Janine and David and the rest of the family for bringing him into the world and sharing his rare and fleeting soul with the rest of us. Hope you enjoy the video. I think you would approve of the music.
Hey, where are we going? Little fox and the Torres. Hey Balin, where are we? Yeah? Into the fog. How you feeling, Chris? A little damp.
Things were looking up, but
almost to the Elmo. Up in Elmo's world. Oh, gotta climb.
Totally wasn't recording. Yeah, definitely. If it hadn't melted enough to melt the deep red. Stuck in the tunnel.
You can barely see it. Are you gonna straight get it, Balin?
I don't know.
What do you think, Chris?
Fucking flying.
What a beast.
Oh, he's really sewing it up now.
You having fun? Oh yeah. About to top it out.
Yeah, not quite anymore.
It wasn't that removed right before you came up. What do you think of the cumbre? Yep. We can't see much. Our side.
Happy Thanksgiving, boys.
breakfast this morning was nothing.
Literally nothing.
Last night. Learned to know about me.
Time to hike out. Off the glacier. Very nice.
That's crazy. Yeah. I think Balin and I probably would have had a different idea of what hike out means. So I don't know if we would have hung out much. Well, we are gonna go into the next video, and like I said, the family would like you to take a look at the next few minutes of this video. The video does go beyond the first 5 or 10 minutes. It's an hour and 13 minutes, folks. Yeah.
So maybe it's up to you, but at least maybe sit for the first 10 minutes, and then it'll be playing upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah, so I will officially dismiss you now, but if you would like to sit and watch for the first 10 minutes, and it will be playing at both upstairs and downstairs, okay? So thank you all for coming, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Some snow in my hair. It's really pretty out. The rainbow. Some snow.
But here's what I'm thinking.
We go ice skating?
After this brunch, you wanted to go, I don't know, to Duluth around Coeur d'Alene. And then after that, we'll go back to the house. And then, I'm sure everyone wants to do something on the road. My van. I'm sure Jay is eagerly waiting to go build some shit. And you want to go prune some bushes. And then, I would like to go to the gym, with or without Mia, depending on what type of mood she's in.
Don't
and
feel
then
that.
later tonight, we can watch a movie or some shit.
He's so...
You know, the best part about being on a glacier in the Alaska Range and not telling anyone the in-reach number is that there's truly, absolutely nothing you could be doing. Because even when like you have kind of nothing to do, you could always be doing something better.
Can I have coffee, Mom?
There's always taxes to do, or a book to read, or something to clean, or going on a walk with her.
So you're trying to say he should go to the Alaska Range with you and go climbing?
But when you're sitting in a tent during bad weather, and you're just food and drinking coffee. There's nothing else to do.
We did that with Mark when he was trapped in a tent when it was pouring down
It's
rain.
nice. There's just nothing.
were born. Yeah, the bonnie boat was one as we sailed into the mystic. I can now hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. And where that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. Yeah, when the foghorn blows, I wanna hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And magnificently we will fold into the mystic. When that foghorn blows, you know I will be coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn whistle blows, I gotta hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will fold into the mystic. Come on, girl. Too late to stop I've been searching a long time for someone exactly like you. I've been traveling all around the world, waiting for you to come through. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, keep me satisfied. Someone exactly like you. I've been traveling a hard road. They've been looking for someone exactly like you. I've been carrying my heavy load, waiting for the light to come shining through. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, make me satisfied. Someone exactly like you. I've been doing some soul searching to find out where you were at. I've been up and down the highway foreign land. Someone like you, making all was wide. Someone like you, keep me satisfied. Someone exactly like you. I've been all around the world, marching to the beat of a different drum. But just lately I have realized, maybe the best is yet to come. Someone like you, make it all worthwhile. Someone like you, ever satisfied. Someone exactly like you. Someone exactly like you. Someone exactly like you. The best is yet to come. Oh, the best is yet to come. Someone exactly.
Is love so fragile and the heart so hollow? Shadow with words impossible to follow. Saying I'm fragile, try not to be. I search only for something I can't see. I have my own life, and I'm stronger than you know. But I carry this feeling when you walked into my house that you won't be walking out the door. Still I carry this feeling when you walked into my house that you won't be walking out the door. Lovers forever, face to face. My city of mountains, stay with me, stay. I need you to love me, I need you today. Give to me your leather, take from me my lace.
You in the moonlight with your sleepy eyes. Could you ever love a man like me? And you were right when I walked into your house. I knew I'd never want to leave. Sometimes I'm a strong man, sometimes cold and scared, and sometimes I cry. But that time I saw you, knew with you to light my nights. Somehow I'd get by. Lovers forever, face to face. My 'twas in another lifetime, one of toil and blood. When blackness was a virtue, the road was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness, a creature void of form. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. And if I pass this way again, you can rest assured I'll always do my best for her, on that I give my word. In a world of steel-eyed death and men who are fighting to be warm, come in, she said, I'll give ya shelter from the storm. Not a word was spoke between us, there was little risk involved. Everything up to that point had been left unresolved. Try imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. I was burned out from exhaustion, buried in the hail, poisoned in the bushes and blown out on the trail. Hunted like a crocodile, ravaged in the corn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Suddenly I turned around and she was standing there, with silver bracelets on her wrists and flowers in her hair. She walked up to me so gracefully and took my crown of thorns. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now there's a wall between us, something that's been lost. I took too much for granted, I got my signals crossed. Just think till it all began on a non-eventful morn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Well, the deputy walks on hard nails and the preacher rides a mount. But nothing really matters much, it's doom alone that counts. And the one-eyed undertaker, he blows a feudal horn. Come in, she said, I'll give ya shelter from the storm. I've heard newborn babies wailing like a moaning dove, and old men with broken teeth stranded without love. Do I understand your question, man? Is it hopeless and forlorn? Come in, she said, I'll give ya shelter from the storm. In a little hilltop village, they gambled for my clothes. I bargained for salvation and she gave me a lethal dose. I offered up my innocence, I got repaid with scorn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Well, I'm living in a foreign country, but I'm bound to cross the line. Beauty walks a razor's edge, someday I'll make it mine. If I could only turn back the clock to when God and her were born. Come in, she said, I'll give ya shelter from the storm.
as fast as they can ride. Well, I guess they got a lot to do before they can rest assured their lives are justified. Pray to God for me, babe, He can let me slide. Well, I've been up and down this highway far as my eyes can see. No matter how fast I run, I can never seem to get away from me. No matter where I am, I can't help thinking I'm just a day away from where I wanna be. Now I'm running home, babe, like a river to the sea. Baby, if you can see me out across this wilderness, there's just one thing I was hoping you might guess. Baby, you can free me, all in the power of your sweet tenderness. Yeah, yeah. Well, I can see it in your eyes. You got those bright baby blues. You don't see what you got to gain, but you don't like to lose. You watch yourself from the sideline like your life is a game. You don't mind playing to keep yourself amused. I don't mean to be cruel, babe, but you're looking confused. Baby, if you can hear me, turn down your radio. There's just the one thing I want you to know. When you've been near me, I felt the love stirring in my soul. Yeah, yes I have. It's so hard to come by that feeling of peace. This friend of mine said, close your eyes and try a few of these. I thought I was flying like a bird, so far above my sorrow, but when I looked down, I was standing on my knees. Now I need someone to help me, someone to help me, please. Baby, if you need me, like I know I need you, there's just one thing I'll ask you to do. Take my hand and lead me through the hole in your garden wall and pull
Oh, very young, what will you leave us this time? You're only dancing on this earth for a short while. And though your dreams may toss and turn you now, they will vanish away like your daddy's best jeans, denim blue, fading up to the sky. And though you want them to last forever, you know we never will. You know we never will. And the patches make the goodbye.
Balin is down there. Where did he go? The sun is... Did you take another picture with your camera, Dylan? Take another picture with your camera?
Oh. Yeah, I'll do that.
Baby here?
Thanks. Thanks.
Sorry.
Stia como afasta, sai.
Wait, here you go.
Oh, very young, what will you leave us this time? You're only dancing on this earth for a short while. Oh, very young, what will you leave us this time?
There's a skeleton in everybody's closet. I can think of one or two in my own room. But I would like to introduce them both to you. Shake their bony hands and so dispel the gloom. 'Cause you're so kind, I know you would not mind. Send away the ghosts that haunt me now. And things I fear just wouldn't seem so near. When I stroll out late at night, would be nothing rattling at my ears. There are nights when all my aching bones won't let me sleep. Demons come to plague me as I lie in bed. But I know if you were sleeping there beside me then, you would fend them off and they would let me rest. 'Cause you're so kind, I know you would not mind. Send away the ghosts that haunt me now. Yet things I fear just wouldn't seem so near. When I stroll out late at night, would be nothing rattling at my ears. There are nights when the wind comes out of my old place. I have dreams, yeah, I wake up with the sweat pouring down my face, and I wait until the morning comes.
come collect my corpse and bury me. But I hope that you come over to the other side. Join me in our new life, keep me company. 'Cause you're so kind, I know you would not mind. Tender ways ghosted on me now. And things I fear just wouldn't seem so near. When I stroll out late at night, would be nothing rattling at my ears.
Like a strength against the wall. I've watched all afternoon without watching it all. I'm thinking of you every moment of the way. I try my hands to throw out onto the
Alright, Balin, is this A4 or what?
I mean, this technically is A3 plus. Feels like it.
Feels like A3 plus?
A little bit.
Is this the crux?
No. So it gets harder. Apparently. Allegedly. Jesus! Come back and build my hot rod! No! There's a bolt right there. I can do it. Or I can stick it somewhere.
What good is that gonna do you?
It appears Chris is somewhat stuck in the tunnel.
Oh yeah.
What you doing, Ethan?
Making bed.
Making bed.
Making bed so we can Benny read each other tonight.
Oh, what are you doing? Making a ledge. Awesome. It's hot.
Yep, here we are at the second coal. Canyon is starting up the pitch that no one else wanted to lead.
You want to cut it back a little bit? This whole
my tough ball. I love puppy coats. Sometimes it
And you brush your shoes, stand before the mirror, and you comb your hair, grab your coat and laugh, and you walk wet streets trying to remember all the wild night breathers in your memory ever, and everything looks so complete when you're walking out on the street, and the wind catches your feet, sends you flying, crying. Wild night is calling. Wild night is calling. All the girls walk by dressed up for each other, and the boys do the boogie woogie on the corner of the street, and the people passing by staring wide wonder, and the inside jukebox goes out just like thunder, and everything looks so complete when you walk out on the street, and the wind catches your feet, sends you flying, crying. Wild night is calling. All right. Wild night is calling. All right. Wild night is calling. Wild night is calling. Come on out and dance. Oh, come on out and make romance. Yes, indeed. Come on out and dance. Come on out, make romance. The wild night is calling. All right. The wild night is calling. Come on out and dance. Come on out and make romance. Come on out and dance, honey. Come on out and make romance. Oh, baby. Well, there's a light in your eye that keeps shining, like a star that can't wait for tonight. I hate to think I've been blinded, baby. Why can't I see you tonight? And the warmth of your smile starts burning, and the feel of your touch gives me fright. I'm shaking so much with the yearning. Why don't you show up and make it alright? Yeah, it's alright. And if you promised your love so completely, and you said you would always be true, you swore that you never would leave me, baby. Whatever happened to you? And you thought it was only in me, and you wish all your dreams would come true. Hey, it ain't the first time, believe me, baby. I'm standing here feeling blue.
Check, check. The mic is open if anybody wants to share memories of Balin.
Now
dangerous.
Hello?
Hello.
Well, it's alright. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's alright. If you live the life you please. Well, it's alright. Doing the best you can. Well, it's alright. As long as you lend a hand.
You can sit around and wait for the phone to ring. Waiting for someone to tell you everything. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring.
Well, it's alright. Even if they say you're wrong. Well, it's alright. Sometimes you gotta be strong. Well, it's alright. As long as you got somewhere to lay. Well, it's alright. Every day is Judgment Day.
Maybe somewhere down the road away. You'll think of me and wonder where I am these days. Maybe somewhere down the road when somebody plays Purple Haze.
Well, it's alright. Even when push comes to shove. Well, it's alright. If you got someone to love. Well, it's alright. Everything will work out fine. Well, it's alright. We're going to the end of the line.
Don't have to be ashamed of the car I drive. I'm just glad to be here, happy to be alive. And it don't matter if you're by my side. I'm satisfied.
Well, it's alright. Even if you're old and gray. Well, it's alright. You still got something to say. Well, it's alright. Remember to live and live. Well, it's alright. Best you can do is forgive. Well, it's alright. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's alright. If you live the life you please. Well, it's alright. Even if the sun don't shine. Well, it's alright. We're going to the end of the line.
When I walk beside her, I am the better man. When I look to leave her, I always stagger back again. Once I built an ivory tower so I could worship from above. When I climbed down to be set free, she took me in again. There's a big hard sun beating on the big people in a big hard world. When she comes to greet me, she is mercy at my feet. When I see her pin her charm, she just throws it back.
stealing sheep.